Well, over the past 70 years, we've had an amazing team of anchors and reporters who have informed the Bay Area about events all over the world.
Tonight, Ken Bastida informs us about one of our favorites.
At KPIX 5 in San Francisco, over the years, the Bay Area has seen quite a crop of news anchors.
This is the place for news.
From the pioneering girl on the beat, Wanda Ramey,
everywhere,
to yours truly, when I used to rock a lot more hair.
Good evening. Welcome to our Eyewitness News special report.
Remember Dave McElhatton, or Mac, as we called him?
There's another aftershock.
He anchored our evening news for decades. But what about the man before Mac?
Good evening, everybody. It's 6 o'clock here in the Bay Area, and I'm Stan Bohrman.
Stan Bohrman.
On our program today, our special guest is...
He was a talk show host.
And Eyewitness News wants to know why.
An investigative reporter.
This is a bulletin from Eyewitness News. Patty Hearst has just been found guilty as charged.
And in the mid-70s, our #1 newscaster.
Stan was, in my mind, the best, or one of the best, anchors that KPIX ever had.
David Bohrman is his son, and while he may harbor a bias in favor of his dad, take a listen.
You know, one of the key issues before the jury was whether or not a gun was being pointed at Patty during the Hibernia bank robbery. 35 years ago today, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. We have somewhat of a chilling story coming out of Washington.
Folks said Bohrman could read a phone book and make it sound important. But this guy was much more than a voice. As an investigative journalist, he was always in control of the facts.
There were teleprompters that had scripts, but he was, I think, more comfortable without the script because he understood the story, he understood why it was important.
Before his gig at KPIX,
Man, that's coffee.
Bohrman hosted a daytime talk show in Los Angeles called Tempo. His co-hosts were Regis Philbin and Maria Cole, the widow of Nat King Cole.
Who's on the other end of this phone? General Mark Clark.
Tempo was cutting edge, fast-paced, and controversial.
If the president had an arrangement, he ought to have told us.
Bohrman brought a very liberal voice to TV.
For the first time, the Justice Department used the nation's courts to restrain the country's free press from publishing news stories.
Former U.S. military analyst Daniel Ellsberg, who released the top-secret Pentagon Papers.
Now, needless to say, Hanoi knew whether it had fired first.
I, as a black man.
And the legendary entertainer Sammy Davis Jr.
Like the white people can't live without the black, I don't think the black people can live without the white.
Eyewitness News.
At KPIX, Bohrman left his politics at the door. At the news desk, he stood out for his smarts.
He made a mark on KPIX, and people that were around then really watched and really cared about it.
While newsrooms were not yet computerized, the technology was quickly evolving.
It's waiting for the great debate that's going to take place right here at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco in a half an hour, and we're waiting too.
Live camera remotes took off. KPIX News called it the Instant Eye.
On the scene with one of our Instant Eye minicams covering the activities around tonight's debate.
When the Instant Eyes, which are live remote cameras, began to be used, it opened up a whole new world of news coverage across the city.
And let's check right back in with Andy Park and Lynn Joyner at the Oakland International Airport.
In 1975, KPIX blew away the competition with this live remote as the Vietnam War drew to a close.
And behind us, you see the process of deplaning the orphans continues.
A DC-8 cargo plane had just landed at Oakland International Airport. On board, 57 Vietnamese babies and children believed abandoned or orphaned. It was called Operation Baby Lift.
In addition to the live exclusive coverage we just had, we had 3 film crews out there.
KPIX was the only TV station capable of carrying these images live.
I'm Stan Bohrman. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
Stan Bohrman left Channel 5 to get off the anchor desk and delve more deeply into investigative reporting.
Dick, last summer, 2 members of the I-Team were driving past former Mayor Rizzo's house.
At KYW, our sister station in Philadelphia, he had an epic showdown with the former mayor, Frank Rizzo.
Could we talk with you for just a moment?
No, I'm busy.
You couldn't answer any of our questions?
I wouldn't talk to you under any condition.
Why is that, sir?
Forget it. Scram. Get out of
The
here.
newsman and his team exposed how Rizzo used police officers to do his personal chores.
Could have shot you or something. We don't know.
Rizzo tried to smash a hidden camera, but the footage survived.
A bank was robbed at State Line, South Lake Tahoe.
As for David Bohrman, he's a chip off the old block.
I've been able to produce some of the great, amazing events of the last 40 years at all the networks.
Bohrman is in the business. He's created almost a dozen new national TV news programs and has changed how major networks cover elections.
Let's go over to John King.
During the 2008 presidential election, Bohrman introduced the use of the magic wall at CNN,
Live in Grant Park. Let's see.
as well as the first real-time hologram, where Black Eyed Peas' Will.i.am was beamed onto CNN to talk with Anderson Cooper. Bohrman tips his hat to his dad.
He was just great on the air. He was a great broadcaster.
I'm Stan Bohrman. Have a good night.
In San Francisco, I'm Ken Bastida, KPIX 5.
Well, things have changed. Stan Bohrman died in 1994. By the way, when the TV show Streets of San Francisco was filmed in the Bay Area, Michael Douglas, who of course starred on the show, watched Bohrman on our news. He later cast him as an anchor in the Oscar-nominated movie The China Syndrome.
Great to watch.